Ambassador Zex Thar of the Axiom Collective shifted uncomfortably in his environment suit as he stared through the viewport at the approaching vessel. His translator implant struggled to process the strange sounds coming from his human escort, Captain Reeves. "Is that laughter?" Zex Thar asked, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence. Captain Reeves composed herself with visible effort. "Forgive me, Ambassador. I just love seeing first reactions to the Shangri-La." Zex Thar turned his attention back to the massive structure floating in Earth orbit. It had clearly once been a military vessel. The unmistakable hull architecture of a human supercarrier was evident, but it had been modified extensively. "That was one of your war vessels?" he asked cautiously. "The UES Shangri-La, pride of the fleet, about 70 years ago," Reeves confirmed. 4th-generation supercarrier, nearly 2 kilometers long, crew complement of over 8,000, fighter wing of 200 craft. She was a beast in her day. And now? Now she's the most popular luxury resort in the Sol system. Zex Thar's breathing apparatus hissed as he processed this information. "You repurposed a weapon of war as a leisure facility. Reduce, reuse, recycle," Reeves said with a shrug. "After the Proxima Accords, we had all these massive ships just sitting around gathering dust. Seemed a waste." As their shuttle approached, Zex Thar could see the extent of the transformation. The flight deck had been converted into a massive transparent dome, under which he glimpsed what appeared to be lush gardens and pools of water. Former weapons emplacements now housed observation lounges and restaurants. The command tower sparkled with lights, clearly now the main hotel structure. Is that a water slide coming out of the missile launch bay?" he asked incredulously. 7 of them, actually. They missile runs, very popular. They follow the old launch tubes all the way down to Deck 37, where they empty into these splash zones that used to be a torpedo assembly area. Zex Thar's cultural briefing had not prepared him for this. The Axiom Collective treated decommissioned warships as sacred objects, preserving them as memorials or museums. The idea of turning one into an amusement park was almost sacrilegious. What about the historical significance? The valor of those who served aboard? "Oh, we have a museum section," Reeves said. "Very well done, actually. But the veterans who served on her, the ones still around, they love what she's become." Captain Henderson, the last commanding officer, runs the bar in what used to be the CIC. Says he prefers mixing drinks to launching strikes any day. Their shuttle docked with the former supercarrier, and as they disembarked, Zex Thar was struck by the vibrant energy of the place. Families with children, elderly couples, tourists from a dozen different species, all enjoying themselves in what had once been an instrument of destruction. "The fighter launch bays are hotel rooms now," Reeves explained as they walked. "Very exclusive. And the old reactor core, fully decommissioned of course, is now a zero-G dance club. The engineering spaces are a spa. Those massive coolant pipes make excellent hot tubs." "And your military approved of this?" Zex Thar asked. "It was actually their idea," Reeves said. "Admiral Kagawa said it best. Let's turn the machinery of war into the machinery of joy. Besides, the revenue helps fund the new exploration vessels." They entered what had once been the ship's immense hangar bay, now transformed into a grand hotel lobby. Waterfalls cascaded down walls once lined with munitions. Children played in spaces where fighter craft had once been armed for combat. "I don't understand," Zex Thar admitted finally. "In our culture, such vessels represent power, sacrifice, deterrence. To change it like this seems like what?" prompted Reeves. "Like you're not taking the dangers of the universe seriously." Reeves smiled, but there was something in her eyes that gave Zex Thar pause, a glint of steel beneath the warmth. "Ambassador, we have 38 other carriers in the mothball fleet alone. 6 new generation vessels on active duty. And that's just the carriers. The Shangri-La served her purpose, protecting Earth for 40 years. Now she serves a new purpose, reminding us what peace looks like, what we're fighting for. She gestured to a group of alien children playing with human youngsters in a shallow pool. Those Rigelian kids? Their grandparents were our enemies during the border conflicts. Now they're splashing around in what used to be a weapons magazine. That's not disrespect for the past, it's hope for the future. Zixthar watched as a retired human officer in partial uniform led a tour group, pointing out features with obvious pride. Perhaps there was something to this strange human custom after all. Besides, Reeves added with that puzzling human expression a wink. His cultural briefing called it nothing says, "We can afford to turn our supercarriers into hotels quite like, well, turning a supercarrier into a hotel." Some might even call it a power move. Looking around at this improbable transformation, this weapon-turned wonderlands, Zixthar began to understand that humans might be more complicated than his briefings had suggested, and possibly more dangerous.